Fantasia gave a disappointing turnout at the box office, it seemed Disney had to go back to the traditional narrative. Dumbo was the 4th film they ever released. It's a curious choice because while it is artistically interesting at times, it's not anything really groundbreaking. Snow White, Pinocchio, and Fantasia you could definitely argue broke some new ground. Dumbo is just sort of your typical kids flick, but it's not bad. Actually, something I always noticed about Dumbo is that Dumbo is never actually the focus. He doesn't even talk, he just sort of walks around looking cute. I mean, it works, he's big-eyed, curious, and all those other things you expect out of Disney characters. But the focus of the movie is the rest of the world. The world of the circus, the world of the animals, the world of getting drunk. It's all about strange visuals. He's very much the observer, not the focus. But hey, that's fine by me. I love weird imagery, especially if it's brought to us by Disney. The story is very basic. An elephant gives birth to a little elephant that's born with big ears. He's considered an outcast and often gets into trouble for it. While one kid goes too far in making fun of him, the mother takes the guy and starts beating the crap out of him. Thus she gets thrown away in the cellar and Dumbo is left on his own, just with one little friend, a circus mouse. The rest of the movie is just things going wrong, weird people and weird things approaching him, and Dumbo looking confused. Again, I don't have a problem with it if it's done well, and it's done reasonably well. It's just a weird, strange environment that they built for him. It's funny because most posters show Dumbo flying, but really, he doesn't fly until the last 10 minutes. It just proves to be your basic Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer story, but it works well enough. Like I said, the weird angles and often bizarre tone really help to give the film a very interesting identity, and actually sort of sets it apart from the other Disney films. Now, there is big debate about whether or not the crows in this movie are racist. Obviously, they're all played by black actors, and they do use slang and say the word brother every once in a while. But Disney never pulled it like they did Song of the South or some of the other racially insensitive cartoons. And from the standpoint of just a dumb white kid, I thought they were cool. They had style, they had class. They're the ones that made Dumbo fly. What's not to like? They're friggin' awesome. Now again, I'm speaking as a dumb white kid. Maybe there's something there I'm missing, but for me personally, I never saw the problem. The pink elephant scene, though entirely pointless, is friggin' awesome. I loved this scene as a kid, I love it now. It's weird, it's strange, it's kind of dark, it's almost creepy, but it's also very enjoyable. The animation is flowing, the weird designs they come up with are just surreal. It's just pure craziness. And yeah, there's really no point to it, but I friggin' love it. They do have some emotional scenes too. The scene where Dumbo hugs his mother is one of those big tearjerkers that every girl I know always goes nuts whenever they see. And like I said before, the world they create for Dumbo is always big, massive, and threatening. So when you get to the happy-pappy points, it's all the more enjoyable. Overall, Dumbo's a decent movie. It's not up to par with some of the more traditional Disney films, but I don't think it was meant to be. It sort of set its own rules and it stuck with it. And I think it's pretty awesome for that. It's a fun film with some fun sequences. Well, I can't talk about this movie unless I show this clip. There's really no point in hiding it. We all know what happens to Bambi's mom in this movie. And it messed up so many kids for life. But is that the only reason to enjoy Bambi? The answer is obviously no. Not only is the art in this movie just fantastic, I mean, good God, you just feel like you're in nature throughout this entire film. But it's the first time Disney's ever done a coming-to-age story. And it does it very well. Where Disney's always been good at creating villains and threatening obstacles to go up against, they knew to keep that to a minimum in this movie. The villain is man, and you never see him. But just the mere threat of him is enough to be intimidating. Everybody talks about the mother's death, but some of these other scenes can get pretty damn intense.
We'd better fly. No, don't fly. Whatever you do, don't fly. He's almost here. I can't stand it any longer.
Like most of the early Disney films, it mixes bright and colorful with dark and mommy killing. But let's be honest, it's not the death of the mother that gets us, it's the fact that there was such a strong connection between her and the son. That's why it messes us up. And I also like the fact that the father is almost never around, and when he is, Bambi's almost afraid of him. Sort of a fascinating dysfunctional family that may or may not need to be, but again, that's sort of up for debate, and that's one of the reasons I do like this film so much. The answers are not clear-cut. Hell, even the questions aren't clear-cut. It's just the life of this deer. And all those typical children's cliches that you see in other kids' films, oh hell, you see in other adult films for that matter, are not here. And thank God, because you know what? This is enough. Sometimes just showing someone or something live their life is all you need. Life is interesting. Life has problems. Life doesn't always resolve itself in a clever and poetic way. Life doesn't always have heroes. Life doesn't always have villains. So because of that, as you'd imagine, there's less of an emphasis on story and more on character. And while Bambi is not the most fascinating of characters, he's supposed to be sort of the every guy. He's the blank slate that's supposed to absorb love, fear, sadness, happiness, and whatever other emotions you can connect with. I'd be lying if I said I watched this one a lot. In fact, it's probably one of the Disney films I watched the least, though I do own it. But I definitely respect it more than I do view it. I guess there's only so many cutesy-wootsy scenes I can sit through, but they are done well, and with purpose. The second half is actually where I start to get more interested. I mean, you know, after that scene. I like seeing Bambi grow up, I like seeing what he's become, and I like seeing what he's going to make of himself. It's another one of those films where the lack of really complex characters is made up for in how much complexity they put into the backgrounds and the colors. Half the time the sceneries give you the emotions. I like a film that can do that without cheating on the character necessarily. The emotions are there in the character, they're just emphasized by the surroundings. And Bambi is chock full of that. Heavy atmosphere in a heavy environment. It's easily one of Disney's finest. I'll be honest, when I was looking through the list of Disney animated films and I came across Saludos, Amigos, I never even heard of it. I thought I knew most of the Disney hand-drawn films, but this one totally slipped my mind. And to be fair, there's kind of a good reason. It's not very long, I don't even think it's really a full-length motion picture. I think it's about 40 minutes. And on top of that, it's just sort of a weird premise. A bunch of the Disney animators decide to fly to places like Brazil and Titicaca and so forth to give them inspiration for their cartoons. And that's it. It's literally just the animators going around doing drawings and then showing you the cartoon they came up with. Does that really count as a movie? I don't know, I can see that much more as a featurette or a making of or a behind the scenes bit, but as a movie, it's not very interesting. Maybe if we got to know the animators a little more or it was shot a little better, but as is, it just sort of looks like someone's vacation videos with just cartoons thrown in. The only cool thing about it is that you do get a little bit of culture, and that's always nice. They show you what different words mean, they show you different parts of their land, so at least you are getting a little bit of an education out of it. But even the animation is just their normal cartoon animation. I love the cartoon animation, but to see an entire movie like that, well heck, not even an entire movie, 40 minutes, heck, even the 40 minutes isn't entirely animated, it seems like kind of a letdown. I don't know, I'm not sure how to judge it seeing how it's not even motion picture length. But I often see it on the list of animated Disney films, so I guess I'll include it here. And actually, this is the birthplace of that one green parrot. I think most people think he came from Three Caballeros, but nope, this is actually where he was born. I guess that's kinda neat. The only bit I remember really enjoying was when they were singing the song Brazil, and you see this paintbrush go through and actually paint Brazil. This is awesome Disney doing what awesome Disney does, taking shapes and colors and playing with it. You think you're looking at a tree, but maybe you're looking at a bird. You think it's a bunch of bananas, but with a splash of black, you're looking at toucans. Stuff like that is great, and if the rest of the film was like that, maybe I'd enjoy it more. But as is, it's pretty forgettable. It might be good to put on just as a time waster for your kids, and like I said, it does have a little bit of culture in it. But as a movie, it's not that groundbreaking. If you just want to say you've seen them all, go check it out, but aside from that, I'd say it's probably a decent one to skip.
La mamma di Bambi!
Vai, vorrei comprare una vocale!
La mamma di Bambi!